It began the night Marcus moved into his new apartment. The place was quiet, tucked away at the edge of an old European town in a building that stood for over a century. Stone floors, wooden beams, cracked walls, cheap rent. It all felt like a steal until night fell. The landlord had warned him about the upper floors being a bit drafty and advised him to keep the windows shut. Marcus laughed it off. He liked fresh air, especially when he was sleeping. That first night, he cracked open the window slightly, and it all started. At 2:47 a.m., Marcus jolted awake. He couldn't move. His limbs were paralyzed. His chest rose and fell with shallow panic breaths. He tried to blink, but even his eyelids felt like stone. The room was still, too still. Only the faint creak of old timber echoed from above. He thought it might be the neighbors, until he remembered the top floor was empty. That's when he saw it. From the corner of his eye, something moved. Slowly, deliberately. A pale face rose from the bottom edge of the window, like someone was floating in midair. It was a woman. Her skin was corpse white, with soaked, stringy black hair that clung to her cheeks. Her eyes, they weren't human. No pupils, just solid black pits that seemed to absorb light. Her mouth hung slightly open, jaw trembling like she was trying to scream, but couldn't. And then she placed her hand against the glass, wet, dripping. The imprint of her palm left a sickly smear down the pane. Marcus tried to scream, to move, to even twitch a finger. Nothing. She didn't climb. She didn't stand. She floated. Then, she opened her mouth, wider than humanly possible. Her jaw cracked sideways like it was dislocating, stretching far beyond its limits. She was screaming, but no sound came. His vision blurred. Darkness took him. When Marcus awoke, the room was bright. Morning sun poured in. The window was shut tight and there was no handprint. He tried to tell himself it was just sleep paralysis, a waking dream. He even looked it up, saw all the textbook symptoms. But one thing didn't sit right. The window was locked from the outside, and Marcus never locked it. Over the next few days, he tried to ignore it. He stayed up late, slept with lights on, took melatonin, but every night, she returned. Always at 2:47 a.m., never making a sound, always floating. Sometimes she'd appear in the corner of the room, sometimes she'd crawl across the ceiling. Once, he felt her fingers brush against his leg, ice cold and wet. Desperate, Marcus visited the local archives. The building had history, sure, but not the kind you'd expect. A woman named Leora Amsel lived there in 1912. Her husband was a traveling merchant who died at war, and she, driven mad by grief, drowned herself in the river just beyond the town limits. They never found her body, but several residents over the years had complained of the same thing. A pale woman, black eyes, silent screaming, always at the window. One journal entry from 1956 described her perfectly, down to the jaw that shouldn't move like that. The note ended with just 3 words: "She wants in." Marcus decided to leave. He packed his things, called the landlord, and arranged for a friend to help move the next day. But that night, sleep came uninvited, and so did she. This time, it was different. He awoke, paralyzed, but aware. The room was darker than usual. The moonlight seemed to shy away from the corners. He strained his eyes. The window was already open. She was inside, floating above his chest. Her hair dripped onto his face. Her hands were at her sides, twisted at unnatural angles. She leaned in, black eyes boring into his. The smell of damp soil and rot filled the air. Then she spoke, not with lips, but directly into his head. A whisper, faint, but undeniable. I watched you sleep. Now you watch me. Her jaw cracked further. Suddenly, Marcus could move, but he couldn't breathe. He gasped, flailing off the bed. She shrieked, not vocally, but through the walls. The mirrors shattered, lights flickered. He crawled across the floor and grabbed the one thing he hadn't tried yet, a mirror. In folk tales, mirrors trap souls. He turned it toward her. The woman froze, and for a moment she smiled, then vanished, gone. The room returned to stillness. Epilogue. Marcus never slept in that apartment again. He moved out the next morning, burned the mattress, smashed the window. But he still sees her sometimes, in reflections, elevators, bathroom mirrors, darkened windows at night. She no longer waits until 2:47. She's watching, just watching, waiting for the next time he can't move. And when that time comes, he won't wake up.